Okay, so we'll start with my hair because I just washed it. The like as soon as I get up in the morning, I always run in the bathroom to see how much darker it is. And something that I have realized too, because I used to wonder, like, how does hair turn gray? Like, do we just grow gray hairs all of a sudden? You know, you'd always see people like pulling gray hairs out and stuff. And but now what I've noticed, it's not growing in gray hairs. It's your hair is actually fading in and out. Like, you know, the eyebrows thing. Like, I haven't put any stuff on my eyebrows. I've been leaving those with nothing, castor oil, but to watch those get darker too, because there's a lot of white hairs in there. And then also, where I was talking about the pubic hair yesterday, which just came to my mind, because that was the first thing that turned gray on me. I was like 30 years old, and first gray hair. It was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting so old. See how it works? Like, their whole fucking aging thing. Like, if you had that and you were like, oh crap, I'm mineral deficient. Fuck, I better just, you know. Like, what a fucking difference. Like, it's madness. So, anyways, so that hair is getting darker too. It's just like fades back to darker. It's like it fills back in with color. And so that's what I keep noticing, is it's like it just fills back in with color. And even though it just keeps picking up on these two stripes get smaller and smaller every day, and they get like more faded. Like when I'm just moving my hair around, it starts just blending in, where it's kind of like it's not as dramatic. But anyways, it'll just keep doing it, you know. I can't, like, it seems like it goes kind of fast at first, but then the more resistant. But I was like, man, this gray, see where I'm at right now? I would say, like, it's been this way, fuck, since, for sure, I bet you like 2012 or something, 2011. So it's been this, how gray it is right now. It's been this gray since then, where it started being, because that is when I stopped coloring my hair on this, because I used to color the gray out to make it matte, because I just had these little gray pieces right here. And so I used to just color them. And I think I stopped coloring them. It was like 2015. It was at my shop. It was when I had my shop. So I think it was like 2015. And then and my daughter had said, you know, oh, silver hair is so popular. You should just let it grow out. It's really cool looking. And so I stopped coloring it. And so that is how much was there when I did that. So I don't know, you know, probably when my pubic hair started getting gray, started being 1 or 2, I'm sure. And then, but it got to this point where it was like this for a long time. And then over the last, I don't know, because time's so weird, because so much of my block of time has been in this little room. It's wild. It's wild because it's in this little room, but it's in this whole bigger world, a bigger world than I can find outside my door. So, like, I'm talking to people in different countries, in different states, making relationships with the people I've never seen before, would have no idea if they were standing next to me. Like, it's trippy. So, so it's not like I'm contained in this little room. I found a way out without ever having to leave. So it is, it's like the best of both worlds, really. Well, I mean, the perfect scenario would be, you know, my person would say, hey, let's get snowed in together. Like, hell yeah, let's do that. But, you know, they'll get there when they get there. Anyways, I would say this is the most resistant. And it was over like the past 5, it just kept getting more and more white, because I would pull my hair back and it would be so, there were just especially over the last couple of years, I was like, oh my gosh, this whole thing, this whole section of my hair is white. And so, anyways, it's going, you know, reverse. And I keep wondering, I mean, at some point, there's got to be somebody, you know, who sees me face to face who's going to say something like, oh, did you color your hair again? Did you start coloring your hair or something? You know, and when I try and tell people, like I try and tell my kids or something, it's just like, zone out. Oh, God, here she goes again, talking about her weird stuff. It's really tripping me out about some stuff over the past couple days. And there's stuff like, I don't want to say this stuff, but then you want to say it before, but then you don't want to say it before. So it's like, well, it's just the dilemma of seeing what others don't see. So, you know, and there's a lot in my own personal life. And it's just trippy for the people who are closest to you to not see you. See, just like how my hair is right here, like all of this would have been white before. And up here where this, because this part, and I don't know, I think it's the radiation and stuff is why our hair falls out like right around our face, our eyebrows, eyelashes. I think it's radiation personally. But this all has got a bunch of hair that's filling in too. So I'm glad of that. But we'll see. Because then, you know, you start losing hair and that right there starts making you feel older. It's like, oh my God, I'm losing my hair. I'm getting old. See? I can make you sick. They can make all this stuff happen to you. And you just keep thinking, oh, I'm getting old. I'm getting old. And some people, once they get that I'm getting old, they're like, fuck it. I'm getting old. Fuck it. And they just give up. They just don't give a fuck. You know, it happens to a lot of people. So, you know, it's like you surrender when we shouldn't be surrendering at all. We should be like, my hair's turning gray. So, you know what, go do research. But, you know, we were so much more trapped, even though all these people are so judgy of the other people who are still more in the mind trap. It's like we were all there. We were all so trapped in our way of thinking, in this program style. It's like, you know, and it's like anytime you look back at your own, it's just like, gosh, dang. Like the implants, that is something that drives me crazy. It's like, fuck, how did I get so insecure? And then, you know, it's crazy is it wasn't like, you know, when I would look at other people, like movie stars and stuff that would be on the screen and bodies and stuff, I always liked the bodies that were like my regular body. Why did I change it into something else? My own insecurities and stuff. And it just is like, those things just play over in your head. And I've seen some other people have some realizations, you know, on their videos and stuff, which this is something that, and I don't, Crystal, I swear to God, I don't mean this directly towards you, because now you've said this about your hair. So now every time I talk about hair stuff or color or something, then it comes right into my mind. So this is not directed to you, but, you know, it'll probably trigger you. But the hair thing is, you know, we get it in our head, all the different things, like the different things we want to change out our parts. And, you know, it's so much on the surface, too, because of the transhumanism movement, what they've got going. But, and how they've got all these people to be so insecure, to feed those insecurities, to surgically chop yourself up. You know, but I can't judge. I fucking did. I was insecure enough. I chopped myself up, and I fucking have to live with the consequences. I was dreaming about it last night in a dream. I had a great doctor who just went in there and got him out right away. It was like, hell yeah. And then I woke up and was like, damn it. Ooh. So anyways, the insecurities, you know, drive us. And I'm not sure why it is, because when we are looking across at another person, so when we're in observation of seeing somebody, when they are just all their natural self, like they haven't interfered with their color. I think even makeup, some makeup, I think, you know, will throw us. And like in art, there's a thing about when you do a painting or something, you know, or, you know, it could be anything what you're using color or whatever, but you have to move the color around the painting, because that is what the observer does. It follows it. Your eyes follow these patterns to be able to see, and but the color movement and the balance is what gives you the idea of like liking it, or oh, it makes me feel weird, or it makes me feel peaceful and stuff. So it's like the way we sense color and balance, kind of. And we all have a natural presentation, like our natural coloring. And I see this all the time. So, Crystal, I'm seriously not talking directly to you. Seriously talking just because of all these other things that I keep seeing. And so, all these girls will go and change, some of them go and change in these wacky hair colors, like tons and tons of people all got these wacky hair colors. And sometimes when something's new, our eyes are drawn to it like, oh, something different, something different, something different. But when you are an observation of a person and you are standing there with them, to you, the person in observation, when all their stuff is naturally in balance, like their color and stuff, like people think, oh, I've got a horrible nose, and, I need to color my hair so it draws away from my nose and my squinty eyes or whatever. We all get these things in our head. We see something and we're like, oh, I like that. I want to look more like that. And then we try and figure out how we can turn ourselves to look different, how we can become something different and move into that frustration road. Like, I got to change myself. I got to change myself. So we get this idea of this other beauty standard. That's how they keep us all going on this beauty standard and stuff, and getting us all to chase something instead of finding peace in ourselves. I'm trying to talk about finding peace in ourselves. So in the observation, the person who is looking at the person, when they've got all their natural coloring and no interference, it's so pleasing to the eye. It's like, it's all natural. There's the tones and everything just goes. So it's like pleasing to the observer. So it is like, I think that there's a sense of attractiveness just in the sense of natural balance. And there's a lot of people who just go around thinking that they're not attractive. So then they just put off that kind of thing. There's more to attractiveness than just color and balance. There is also confidence. I just saw this girl. See, I keep seeing these. So this girl, she had just taken out her extensions. Like, these people are just fucking up their hair so bad with all these crazy colors. And they put all this glue, all these chemicals, and you wonder, like, why are they so cut off from themselves? Why are they so sick? It's because, like, just as we see a gray-haired person walking around, we think, oh, aren't they just looking so attractive as they age? It's really like, oh, watch, dead man walking right there. It's like, they've given up, they're going to die. It's like, oh, damn, we just are so fucking twisted on how we see. But, so if the person who is being seen, they still, they can feel like, well, I'm more comfortable. I like myself better this way. So you got to go with how you like yourself. I'm not saying, you just change yourself to please others. It's just that I started seeing about like this thing that people like it's more, it doesn't confuse their eyes. It doesn't jack them up. Like where they keep like, anybody you've seen where they've got their hair is some weird color and you just keep going around, like, because you've got skin tone, you've got all these different things that go together, and they go together to make up you, but people keep trying to change them so they feel more comfortable. And so then it's like, changing whatever things to make themselves more comfortable. But, like with hair color is such a big one. Oh yeah, and this girl, so she had taken out her extensions, and then she was complaining. She was showing some pictures of what her hair used to look like. Like, I don't get what these girls think. Like, you're going to do all this stuff to your hair, and then you're going to just take it out, and you're going to go back to your natural do. Like, you are damaging your hair. Like, you are fucking it up, and you're going in the artificial way of like, well, it's artificial, like you're not caring about it, the natural, like the extension of you. You're trying to change it artificially into something else. And so it, it's going to, there's a kickback. And so her hair was super just stringy, like, and she, like, you couldn't tell as much, I don't think, in the video, as what she was saying, because I was like, well, you could just cut that into a shag or something. I think you could make a cute haircut out of it. You just have to be a lot shorter. And so she decided she was going to shave her head. And even when she was like showing it and stuff, I don't know, there's like, this is what people don't get. There's expressions that you express. Your face looks a certain way when you're holding on to some kind of pain. And so she, she looked more distraught or something. Then she, did her whole ceremony, her friends and whatever, shaved her head, which I think, there's also a whole thing about that with leaving your past behind when you shave your head, because of all the thing about holds all your memories and your pain and stuff like that. So there's this shedding, for some people when they've gone through something. And everybody's going through stuff right now. Even if they don't understand what process they are in it, they're already in it. It's already happening. And so even if certain things haven't hit them yet, it's like, it's right behind them. It's like that snowball building behind them. So she shaved her head, and then she did a thing to show, and I was like, oh my God, this girl is so pretty. Like, God, why would she ever have hair? It was like, and she had this like such a perfect face. Like, kind of reminded me of this like alien creature. It was like, without her hair, when she took her hair off, it was like, man, I don't know, she had a filter on or something. But I was like, gosh dang, she is really, really pretty with no hair at all. And which I think she's better off having that. I mean, you'd start having some hair grow back out. But it kind of was like, with that sadness part where she was mourning her hair. Like, she didn't look like, I mean, she looked like an attractive girl or something. It wasn't like where you're like, oh, God, you're so hideous, poor thing. Like, now you're going to shave your head, you're going to be screwed. Wasn't like that at all. It was just like, you see so many of these girls shaving their head. And I'm always like, ugh, they're always like, they shave it and it's like, oh my God, they're so pretty. How they look so good. Because I think if I shaved my head, I think I would look weird. I look like Uncle Fester or something. I look like, I don't know. That's what I've always thought. I don't know. I see these girls do it. And it's like, dang, that's brave and bold. My daughter did it. One of my daughters, and then her daughter did it. And I couldn't believe it too. I was like, gosh, she looks so good. It's like, man, I don't know. I think it all has to do with the shape of your head and stuff. And I don't know. Maybe our hair makes our head, like we all have like a skull. It's more like you see their skull, which is, I don't know. It's kind of got that alien feel because there's no hair. But our hair is our extension. Our hair is our feelers. But people who, it's like the programming, to mess with something. Like, like if we just thought about, like, if we started seeing, like, ants or anything that uses their antenna and bees or whatever. I was like, oh, God, so boring. Let's just, like, let's color it. Let's do some designs on it and stuff. And it's like we take something that has a function and then we want it to look good, which reminds me so much of just that artificial word. It's like right there, it was coming into my mind, Hunger Games. You know how they all started having the weird hair. The people who had a lot of money, not the people who lived out in the villages. The people who had all the money, these weird hair and colors and stuff, and also fake and phony. They start looking like an avatar. It's like, but people kind of all start doing that. Like they're like, it's weird, man. I'm telling you, this kind of stuff weirds me out. And now I have people who listen to me say it because before, I'd say some of this stuff to like my kids or something and be like, God, you're so rude. You're so judgmental. God, it's like, I don't know. It just seems weird. But the, So this, what was it I was going to say? I'm sure to come back to me in a second. There's something about, something with the filters. I'm always bitching about that. The people being more comfortable. Oh yeah, because these people who do these videos, and they have something they want to say, like they want, and I know it's a process. I know you can't make somebody be in their throat chakra before they get to the throat chakra, and I know there's a working up to it. I had the same thing before I started this. I had tried to start a couple years before, and so this is so anyways, I understand that it's hard to get up here, but you got to do things that make you uncomfortable. You got to go out of your comfort zone, and you got to represent yourself. And all these people put on these filters, but it's not even just putting on bold glamour or something. They put on these like Pixar characters or something. Like they're more comfortable looking like a Disney fairy princess saying this serious thing that they want to talk about. It's like, what in the world? Why is everybody so much more comfortable being these characters? You've got to get comfortable being yourself. Getting comfortable being, because everything will be distorted on you until you start getting comfortable with yourself. And when you are here, like your representation of who you are is a representation of things that you're going through. And so it's a connection to these different lives, these different aspects of self that you are going to process through. So it's like identity markers. So, and people think it has to do with like looks and stuff, but that is because they sold you this artificial concept of what life is all about. And they had to do that because look at how it funds the fucking like plastic surgery business, the diet business, the clothing business, like all this stuff, the hair, all the stuff that people are running around trying to change themselves to be something different. It's like and see the consumption, and see if you stop that consumption and you go into your soul and you go into peace, then you don't feel like you have to chase all those things. You don't feel you have to be all these different things to be acceptable. You can be just yourself. You can just be you. You don't have to be something different. And then people, in a fake society, yeah, you may not be recognized. In fake society, they may be just looking at the girls that all look like anime. But look at how the lessons that have come with that. Like all the guys that are feeling catfished. I mean, it's astounding. It's astounding, like what this makeup situation. And how far people go with the filters, all of it. And it is like fucking people are putting on all those fake parts and then going out into the world. And and a lot of people don't want that. A lot of guys, if they're going out with a girl or whatever, and they want to see her, like, and I don't think it's just about like looks. I think, it's because all different people are attractive to all different people. Like, no matter what, no matter if you think you're so unattractive, there's somebody out there in the world, or there's a whole bunch of somebodies who would look at you and say, you're so attractive. And they would say, what's wrong with you? Like, why can't you see that? And, and then you have to recognize, well, I can't see what you see because I'm too hard on myself. The things that you look at me and you think are attractive, I'm trying to change because I think I'm not good enough. I'm trying to be like somebody else. So I'm changing all these things about me. But there's people out there who would look at you and think that you are beautiful. But it's like the people who are the carriers, they just feel the sense of having to change themselves, not being good enough, not being attractive enough, wishing that they could be different, always in this sense of change. So where's your focus? Your focus isn't on yourself. It isn't finding peace in yourself. It isn't finding security. It's finding this chase that the system feeds off of. This chase of you trying to find, to be something different. This is something that's acceptable. It's like, fur coats were coming into my head. I was seeing all these ladies with fur coats. And it was like there was a period of time, and I think it's not just like in the 60s or 70s when they glammed it up. I think that a lot of stuff in movies, they copied other things. And so, but there has been different times in life, and there would be, and it always is kind of like the leaders are the ones with the money. And now that we know more about the ones with the money and we know what they're doing, but it would be like you have poor villagers, are cold and hungry. And then the aristocrats like begin to wear furs because, but really it was the mountain people who did that. It was like it was like these poor people who went out and, but it had respect for the animal, they use everything, not discard it. We're in a place in our world that is so full of consumers. And this is something I tried to even tell my daughter when she went vegan on her shoes and all that stuff. And I kept saying, yeah, but they keep killing the cows. What do you think? They should just throw everything away? It's like you're supposed to use everything. So you should buy leather shoes so that they use the rest of the stuff. And leather shoes last. Like that is what, then we want man-made material shoes because we want to refuse to be a part of the killing of the cows. It's like they're killing motherfucking cows the whole goddamn time. I'll just discard that shit. Unless there's a demand, they don't give a fuck. But back in the day, when people would kill something, they would use all the parts of it. You wouldn't have waste. And so they would use the furs and stuff. Like when you think back of the settlers and stuff like that, they would use the furs and whatnot. And then I don't know, it's like a trend where they all of a sudden, these rich people, well, they wanted furs. And so it's like a tone gets set. So then you start thinking, oh, well, the richer people have it. And so then you want it so you can have the appearance to other people that you have more. So it's like it sets a tone. It sets this idea. And then you get people like there's so many fucking people. I've heard about this. Like, I think it's like common in Miami or something, but any of these places that are like real statusy, somebody can have a mediocre job, just getting by, have a okay apartment, but then they'll go buy a fucking rich ass car so they can drive around and have the appearance to have a lot of money to people. And even when, going on dates and getting girls at clubs and stuff, and then they have the appearance that they have more money than they do. And so it's a statusy, like show-offy kind of like, look at me, I've got this. It's like, why? What are you trying to do that for? Like, what are you trying to get? You're trying to get yourself to feel better. You're trying to get yourself to feel more acceptable. You're trying to get yourself to feel like, oh, you have a sense of success. Because there's also a phoniness. There's also a catfishing. I think it's so much more purposeful to get to a place of contentment where, you don't have to go out and chase these things. You don't have to go and be something you're not. You got to relax into being who you are. And, they've got all these people convinced that there's something that they're not. Who knows, when it all falls apart, which has got to be close. I'm telling you, it's close. When it all falls apart, how many people are going to be shown like that they're so different? They are not anything of like how that they thought they were. And so, because everybody's masked up differently. And I saw this video yesterday, and there must be a psychologist, like the counselors and stuff. They are always doing these videos. And it's like, I don't agree with some of the shit they say. I'll tell you what. It's, the same thing of, people who are toxic, keep away from them, focus on love and light. It's like the same idea. It's like, it's the same energy they all feed off of. But that energy is, it's like a wave. It was like a wave that took humanity out of a certain place, but it's not a wave that takes them to the beach. It got them out of out of a toxic sludge, but it's not what takes them home. It was like a movement, you know, for people to get focused on counseling and trying to do better and stuff. But it's all going to fall apart like everything else, because, you know, the expert on you is you. No other expert out there. Let me know, is it dripping? As usual, my stomach hasn't started growling yet, but you know, it's probably coming. But, but it cracks me up, that video, that guy talking about it, because I was always like, oh my God, my stomach's growling, my stomach's growling. And, but then for him to say it's because you haven't eaten, it's like your body doing that after a fast. And so, like, that's what get up and do. I don't know. I mean, all these people talking about the parrot, I don't even fucking know anymore. It's like, because everything that anybody says, I'm always like, yeah, but we're not even flesh and blood. We're not flesh and blood. So how is it any of that? The only thing that is real is what you anchor onto and what you believe, and then you make it real. So as long as you keep letting go and letting go and letting go and being comfortable with, like, it's not real, it's not real, it's not real, I'm not real, this isn't real, you know, it's like it's a free fall. So anyways, let me think back where I was before I noticed my nose was dripping again. I swear, I have stuff in my pockets sometimes, but, okay, let me think. But I have a sweater. She's my sweater. I swear there is a part of me that it just goes back to being a kid anymore. It's like, who cares? It just is funny too, because when I'll do stuff and I'll think, like, how do we ever change from this? Like, whatever changes us, like, when we're just like, just living and being happy and doing whatever, and then all of a sudden we become, it's like super hypersensitive things, but it's to the wrong things. Because if we were, you know, it's not like we're paying attention to ourselves. Like, what I'm always saying is start slowing down and asking yourself why you're doing things. You know, why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? Who am I trying to please? What am I trying to get here? So when we slow down and go at it from that conversation, but before, it was like we would slow, it would be what we would just look at everything through this hypersensitivity. Like, everything, like, I had to go through this lens of you're not good enough, you're not acceptable, and always feeling like everything is trying to show you need to change, you need to be different. And all of society was a certain way, and well, I don't know, this could have just been my story. Maybe everybody else was feeling so much more connected. I don't know. I always felt like some weird outcast. But I didn't want to change into what I saw around me. I just couldn't understand what the hell was wrong with everybody. I had no idea, I swear, until it was in 2020 when I started watching Donald every day come in to give us our updates of our sickness, then and then I would see the media replay on it, and then I was like, oh my God. And then at the same time, you know, I was trying to talk to my family members, and they were not, I mean, we were all seeing different things. We're all like, and it was like, how is this happening? And then I started seeing how it was happening, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is fucking insane. Like, they literally have got mind control. Like, and then when you start realizing it's the fucking movies, it's the fucking TV, it's all of it, and how extreme it is, like, on our health and all that. I guess, like, ugh, it's a lot to wake up to. It's a lot of just like, whoa. But then, you know, if you keep going internally, you know, your guides remind you, hey, don't let it bother you. This isn't real. You're not flesh and blood. Just, you know, it's like this constant disconnect from these concepts that they controlled and imprisoned you with. And that is one thing too, you know, because as the whole thing with aging, to me, they created aging and they created death. And the aging, you know, is us being depleted and getting sicker and sicker. And us just thinking that we're aging. And I just, the more that they show me and stuff, it is like there is this development, like you get older, but this part of just becoming like super, super old. And even where you see some of these people in these other countries, like, I don't know, I think there's like 120 or 140-year-old guys somewhere over in Asia somewhere. But there's always these really old people that pop up, and they'll look really old, So I think but I think there's something more to it. I think that there's a part where you would get really old, but maybe it is like more after 100 or something, after you've been here 100 cycles. Because I really think that we got to get it in our mind that the earth cycles have nothing to do with our age. We're trying to link these two things. And our age has nothing to do with our experience. Our experience is a window of time. And no matter what, no matter if it's 14 years, no matter if it's 55 years, and like I've said before, sometimes there's people who have, a lifespan of 1 hour. There's people who have a lifespan of, never having a breath outside of the womb. And those lives can impact people far more than, it all has to do with the situation, the scenarios. That's what we're here to experience. It's those impactful things that brings up stuff in us to help us grow, to help us move, to change, to be different, to expand ourselves. So all these different experiences are for that, but it's about the experience. You have a window of time for your experience. So, it doesn't have to do with aging. And so the whole concept of aging, I don't know, it's all going to be changing. I know that. But, just as death, this whole idea of death and how it was created and how we would get ourselves sick. But it works, for loss. So it all works together. But see, like I keep saying, we're in this transition. So it's seeing things different. It's not just playing those parts, it's seeing it different. It's making changes because we are in the process of change. We're in the process of this transition, of becoming different, of living different. And it has a big part of us being more connected or tapped into our soul part of us, and understanding that the reflection, this part that we are putting out there is, it's not real. So we can take our light, we can take our energy, and we can express ourselves once we become aware. So that's why I'm saying, like, I know a lot of people think that everybody's going to die in these cataclysms, and I can't say that it's not going to be. That every single one of us is going to have this thing where we would be dead, only we don't die because we know that we don't die. So those of us who have spiritually inclined, spiritually ascended, who have come to the recognition and realization that you don't die, that we don't die. We just keep going. And we create the age of Aquarius. Like, I don't know. That is definitely something that can be. And, but it is like they had shown me before. It was like, you just don't notice. You won't notice. It's not like you will notice. It's not like you will be dead and then you have to get up and come back to life or something like that. Even in the solar flash thing on the QHHTs, people were saying it was like the energy comes in and they all fall down, but then they all just get up. So that's what I'm saying. And our idea of death, this past, this reality is dying. But when you realize that you can't be killed, you can't die, your energy, and you keep in that idea, then in everything they do that tries to bring you back to flesh and blood, like they really want us to focus on this flesh and blood and aging and getting sick. And they all want us to be sick right now. They all want us to come in and get checked so that they can tell us that we're sick, so they can get us all this stuff to make us sicker. Because that's all they're trying to do all the time. And old fucking Schwarzenegger, I guess, he was on his way to one of their fucking weirdo meetings. And, this is all a big show. And I thought this was a part, you know, like I'm always saying, they're always trying to get this information out there. So on this, so old Schwarzenegger, he got busted. He was on his way to Australia for one of these, I don't know, these Davos fucking climate fucking meeting bullshit that rich people go to or whatever. And that they are, but they're all getting exposed, you know. And so I don't know that Arnold normally goes to them. It could all just be a part of his takedown, a part of the show, a part of, you know, his storyline, how they're going to have it play out. But so he got detained at an airport and got arrested. And so the charges, what they're saying is he was trying to go sell something that, something valuable that he had. They're trying to say, well, he was trying to go take it and sell it because, you know, on the EOs, like I've been saying, all those executive orders that Donald was making, he had all those little clauses in there. Anybody who's involved in any of these crimes, there's certain list, and anybody who's involved has any connection to these things, all their property, all of their money, everything is being taken. And that's one thing, like, where people are all like so confused about the Hollywood thing. It's like, well, you'll see. I mean, but a lot of people don't understand about the executive order thing. But yeah, anybody who's involved, they lose all their stuff. And that's why I was saying, like, where they keep saying all these rich people are out there buying all this land. And I said, well, all that land, you know, old Gators buying and fucking Bezos and all these people are buying all that, which I don't know for sure. You know, Bezos could be not a bad guy. Like, I don't know. Somebody was telling me, like, or wasn't telling me. I heard a video of somebody explaining how he got his start. And he was just like some guy who decided to start selling books out of his garage, and it just blew up into that. So he wasn't always one of these money people. Once you get into the money thing, the only way you can go up is you have to sell out. So I don't know. I mean, the guy makes, you know, so much money. He could change the world. And so it makes you think, okay, well, he's probably in his soul, you know, he feeds off the dark. That's the thing. It depends on what's in your soul. And so anyways, all these people who are out buying all that goes back to us. It all goes back to us. But them to be making that like in the news about that, I was like, oh, so I don't know, because I already know that that's going on. So if it's to remind people, if it's to let people know, if it's just to get the conversation going in society, or what? I don't know. But it is, it's out there. So, and that's what I thought when I saw it was going down, that he was being arrested. Then I was like, oh, this has got to be, especially for them to say, like, that's what they're arresting him for, that they think he's trying to go, what is that called? Liquidate some of his assets so that he can have some money or move some money around, when all their money is being confiscated if they are involved with any of these crimes. Like another one of the Rothschild or something, another one of their homes went up for sale. There's always these busts going on. This one person is always showing the Oklahoma news. So Oklahoma's always got stuff going, but I think every place always has stuff going. But this one in Oklahoma is another one of these church people getting arrested for child abuse. And this lady looks older. She looks older. And her husband was a pastor. So, of course, she's well respected. This is the thing with people. You don't have to do good work. You just got to go out and pretend like it. It's this catfish world. You don't have to look like you take care of yourself. You just got to put on something to make it look like it. It's like, it's just fake. And so she is this older lady, and she had 8 kids, like, and the ages are 17 to 2. They're all foster or adopted or something. And they all got taken, but those stories are like, lock them in a bathroom for 3 days with no food or anything. Just hit them with all, like, one girl, she would have to put on makeup to cover a black eye, and they would hit them with belts and weapons or whatever. It was, hit them with stuff. So anyways, all the kids got taken, and when they go in to get her, she's just sitting there. And they had come, I guess, once, and then they had to go get a warrant and come back. And when they came back, they arrested her, and they already had the kids in safety or whatever, wherever they had already got all the kids. But the woman, she just like, at first she clutches her heart, like, oh, like, oh, what are you saying? What are you saying? And then she just starts saying, oh, this is absurd. No, this is, like, they've already got all the evidence, check. And any of the people, like, it's going to depend on how extreme. But all of those crimes that are against children are, because there is a whole classification. There's going to be crimes against all of humanity. And you'd have to go up and look up what it's all about. It has to do, to me, it has to do with you have the rule book inside of you. And so how disconnected you are from that rule book, how disconnected you are from your moral compass, that has to do with it, to me. And so there's a shedding of that energy, a shedding of people who are disconnected from their moral compass. But see, like, when you come in as a soul to play these certain parts, these dark parts, to be able to go in and experience the darkness, you have to kind of disconnect yourself in order to get the full experience. So it's not like these people who are in the dark, who seem to be expressing from a dark place. That doesn't mean their soul is dark. That's the thing, is all these people always think like, everything's about the devil and hell and demons, and you're going to go burn in hell and stuff. That's all programming. But so there's a lot of people who come in and play all these different parts, and it's like they disconnect themselves from their light so that they can be of the dark. And then so it's like this disconnect from their moral compass, from their truth. And so this energy is this purging of that. So all of that energy that is, some will click on, some, because everything will play out. It won't just be one set thing like black or white. There's everything in between. There's always a gradient. And everything has to do with all the lessons in there. And I bet you, even out of all the different lessons and all the different possibilities that billions of people could come up with, there's more. There's more. You could add in 2 billion souls, 3 billion, and there would continue to be a slight fractal difference in everything that played out. There's always an expansion. And so but that's what you got to keep in mind, is that is what the universal energy feeds off of that. You need the both. You need the AC to DC. You need the positive to the negative. You need both energies. Is the creation of the movement. Oh, and what was that? Because there's this footage of those whales. I maybe just one whale. I don't know. But in the water, it starts doing that Fibonacci pattern or whatever, that natural pattern, that swirl, and see that swirl is like where it begins is the beginning of you, and everything that comes out is every possibility, and then every possibility is where you focus. And it was another thing that I was seeing was it's like everything is snapshots. It's like everything is, like where we're trying to understand what reality is and stuff. And it's like, you think about, well, it's gotta be like dreams and stuff. And it's like everything is snapshots, but the snapshots have a story. And it's like we go into the snapshot and slow it down to experience it frame by frame by frame by frame. And that is how it is written. But you can go in and experience it. And that's why it can feel so tedious, but that's where you learn. That's where you grow, is in the breaking it down frame by frame. How do we get from here to there? And so we go in and go frame to frame to frame. And that is what we're doing right now. That's what we're waking up to. We're in this frame to frame to frame. And that is also what is trippy too, because there's some things that is just like another picture. And then I think that we create our own bridges from picture to picture. But there is, I don't know. It's like, and then it's like the snapshots, but then when you go into the frame, that there is like, it all depends on where your focus is. Your focus is what chooses your reality. Like if there was everything in between, all of the choices are the way you look at things. It's how you see things. It's what you focus on. Or I hear people say like, whoa, there's a reality where you're rich and famous. There's a reality where you're homeless. There's a reality where you are, all these different things. But the different things are all, it is like a playing out. It isn't like, I don't know, because this is like, because they even show kind of like that in that movie that, I can't remember what it's called. Is that movie where that, I don't know, Chinese or Korean woman or whatever, and she keeps going in all these different realities, and her husband comes in and she's going through these realities. I can't remember what it's called. It's a new movie. It seems like a world is in it or something. It's good, but it's real fast, and there's a lot of fighting, and there's a lot of jumping realities. But it's like she's just going through all those ones, and she's like all these dramatic different parts. And I don't know so much as that there's these dramatic differences in, like, oh, well, if I just would have went there, this would have happened. If I just would have went there, this would have happened. It seems to me that it's more of, it's how you look at it. That different things can occur, but it's how you look at it. So if you are, like if you're living your life and you're real down, yeah, you could end up being homeless. You could end up, overdosing on drugs. It depends on where you take your pain and suffering. If you feel real positive about yourself, you can take it and become famous and win awards, because I think she wins like an Academy Award and one. She's like it's extreme differences in all of these different lives that she keeps zapping around in. And then also in the awakening, it's like a merging of all these parts of yourself, because you've already lived all these different kinds of lives. You've lived all these different experiences. That's what makes you up, is your experiences. And that's where you learn. That's how you become who you are. And so and it's weird because so many people have so much to offer, but they stay so hidden. They hide themselves. But we're in this huge transition. The whole thing is people just got to get comfortable with themselves. And the more that, once weirdos go out and be comfortable with being weird, then the more that other people can go out and be comfortable with their weirdness. And pretty soon, we can all be out there, a bunch of jellyfish. Because now they've got jellyfish up in the sky. There's, This one guy, or I've seen a bunch of different clips of these jellyfish up in the sky. This one guy was doing this breakdown. He was saying, oh, I think it's a mylar balloon or something, the way it moves. And, those balloons are always up there. But I don't know how many jellyfish balloons are there. I don't know. Maybe there's a bunch. But this one footage I just saw, and these people were they in Brazil or something? Bahamas. I think they were in Bahamas. And they were out on the beach or something, and there was this huge one. They were getting like lighting up in the sky because it was dark out, and it was lighting up in this. On the footage, it looked like it was like this orange and green, and they kept saying it looked like a giant jellyfish up in the sky. And that's the thing is, and I see this lady who does all these pictures of the sky stuff, and you can see like there's a little town up there in the sky, and people are walking around. You can see ships. You can see all sorts of stuff. It's because that's what we are in, is all these different realities. It's like somebody's taken a blindfold off of our eyes, and your eyes have to adjust to reality. And reality is far different than what you have had in your mind, what it is, because it is all these different realities. And I swear there's all sorts of just beasts everywhere coming out. And with these footprints things, there's so many people who are getting all of these howls and screaming and stuff by the woods. These, where it sounds like Bigfoot is in there just moaning away or something, like not happy. Like it's like all this stuff. I think it's kind of like all this stuff was always going on, but we were ignoring it because we were focused on other things. So just as we see all these other people ignoring reality is because they're focused on other things. But all the things keep blowing up bigger, bigger, bigger. Like I think the weather is waking a lot of people up. And it may not wake them all up fully to manipulation, but as I'm questioning things and thinking about things and being frustrated, and it makes you be isolated and have time where you don't have other interference. You're kind of stuck with yourself. And yourself is what wants communication. Yourself is what wants you to wake up and reconnect with yourself. And like I was saying, is the people who are of that darker energy, who are disconnected, who are playing that role, who will leave so that they can go back to get to their light self, so that they, get out of the dark. But there is, I was thinking all these people who are just really cut off from themselves. And man, and there's just so much fucking crimes and stuff, like horrible crimes that keep going on, and like crazy stuff. Like this was footage, like a doorbell camera or something, and a young girl, very young, like 19, 20 years old or something, and she quickly comes up to her door, opens her door, goes in, and right after she gets in and shuts the door, these two guys that look like fucking, they're out of Deliverance or something. If you haven't seen that movie, these guys look like, they got their overalls on, one strap hanging down, and like they're just gonna pull out a banjo. They look like they're out for fucking trouble, and come around her thing, like they're gonna and they're big old boys, like they get on top of that girl and fucking suffocate her. And it's like, oh my god, it was so fucking blatant. Like, god damn, you go out in the world, it's like you gotta be on guard, you gotta be watching. We have got so many criminals. They've been letting them out. And, when I had said that Mississippi thing was going to increase on the numbers, it fucking jumped. Now it's up to 670 or something. I knew it was going to be big, and it's going to not just be that one. They're all over the place. And there's so much, too, coming out with more with the... like this guy who, they can't find his daughter, which she'd been in there 25 years. And I think she was an infant when she died. She was little, I think. And I think that's why they're trying to tell him. But there's so much more about the selling parts. all these, I don't know. Like, there's, like, I'm sure there must be some legit funeral homes. But, you know, just in all of these things, realtors, funeral homes, doctors, lawyers, everything had these people who were unethical. And we had to have that darkness here. Like, there had to be people that came and play that part, you know. So there was a lot of people who came in to play in the dark, to be of the dark. And so, and there's just so many. Everything is so corrupt. So, man, it's like, and the way you think about just all the people who work in like food warehouses and stuff. Like, what do you have to sign? An NDA, what is that? A non-disclosure agreement. NDA? Like, you have to sign an NDA to go work at a food factory? To not tell us what, you know, you're spraying all these chemicals. You have to wear a hazmat suit. That all the bugs and feces and all those stuff. Now they've even put it out like as one of the main fillers in something. I don't know if it's Tyson or something. One of their main fillers is going to be bugs now. That's their thing. I wouldn't buy any of their like chicken McNuggets or anything. I don't know, all this, you know, and it's, but also, you know, in the same sense as we're not flesh and blood, like we're not really eating this flesh and blood. It's all an illusion. It's all part of the dream. So it's like the same thing as like if you were in a dream and you were all upset because you were eating, like you're a vegetarian and you had a dream and you were eating a steak. And then you're so mad at yourself. Like, I can't believe I was eating the steak in my dream. It's like, but none of it's real. None of it's real. You're just learning things. You're doing things. You're experiencing things. You know, what did it make you feel? That's what you find your lesson in everything. And dreams have significant lessons and stuff. Like, dreams have a part to play in your life. You wouldn't have them if it didn't. And I don't know. I don't think it's just an escape from your life. I think that there is, especially through what has happened with mine, to find that so much of my time when I go to sleep, that I'm, it's like I'm in a classroom or something. Or I'm sitting with a committee. Or I'm sitting with a group of people talking about stuff. It's not just like, oh, I'm out running around and doing stuff. Even when my dreams were so vivid when I was a kid, and it was so scary. I was so scared to go to bed at night. And it was like I was reliving a past life that was traumatic. And I'm not sure why that past life was coming to me so much, other than the fact, you know, that then I end up having Stella come to me years later. And I put it together like, oh, she was the animal who killed me in the life that haunted me as a child. And it just is so funny, too, is like how many times that she'll be out doing stuff. She even tried to do it the other day. It cracks me up because every day she wants to go running over to the neighbor's house, go running in there, and she wants to go find Alfie, her little boyfriend. And Alfie's like 14 now. He's going blind. And he's like a little terrier. So she's real small to her and stuff, but, you know, she loves him. And she go running over there to see him. And, oh, what was I going to say about that? I was going to say something. Fuck, what was I talking about? The dogs are going over there. She always wants to go over there and run over there. Fuck, I have no idea what the hell I was going to say. I don't know. Let me think if there was some other stuff. Let me think of the other stuff that, so Texas, I didn't see anything significant happen yesterday. It seemed like that there's just more of this buildup. And, you know, Joe's saying, well, you better let the state government, but you have all these states now sending their National Guard. So it's like each state, apparently we all had our own National Guard. So that is our on the ground state military, I guess. I'm not sure. And so, because when they went in and broke in before, because the federal government had taken over Eagle Point or something, and we're just letting all these people come in. And so then the reserve came, kicked them out, and then Joe said, no, you better move or we're going to, that's it. It's like, because we're going to go to civil war here in Texas. And all these other states start saying they're sending their National Guard. So this drama is building. It's it's not gone away. It's probably a part of what's going to take Joe down. Like all this other shit hasn't yet. The stuff with his kids, the stuff with all the crimes, all the stuff that, I'm like, fuck. There's so much. And it's like, look, it adds one thing too when these people awaken to that. And it was like, oh my God, he was doing this and this and this. It's like, yeah, I was doing the whole damn time. You just weren't paying attention. It's like, God, how embarrassing for them. And it's going to be, we don't have to kick them while they're down. We don't have to spit in their face and tell them, see? Because you got to remember, we all have something. We all have something we're not seeing. We all have something that we're going to see when things flip. There's going to be something that we're going to see. Everybody will have their own business to take care of. But I just know that there's going to be a lot of people who are going to feel that humility, that shame, and that guilt of being so disconnected. And the people who do stay, the ones who are, did have their, their moral compass turned off to play dark roles, they are also going to feel it's going to be a lot to get over. And it's important to remember you're a soul. There's a lot more going on. You don't have to believe the stuff I say, but you got to start looking into it. Like, go read stuff about reincarnation. Go read stuff about different, read stuff you haven't read about. Go look into other things that you haven't learned about and start forming what you think. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to listen to what I say. I formed my opinions, though, definitely reading reincarnation books and reading about near-death experience people, just listening to different channelers and mediums and those QHHTs. Is all those the people are hypnotized. And there's just so many people who are all saying like the same kinds of things, which, you could think like, well, they probably listen to them like me. But when I went and got my QHD, I don't think I had ever heard it. I mean, I had heard some because I knew what they were, because I had heard them from Dolores Cannon. I don't know if maybe I had heard of it from Allison Coe, because I do think I did want to get one from her. But when you go and get one, I don't know. You would have to be able to, if you go into a relaxed state of consciousness, it's like you would have to stay out of that to be able to think and say, like, if you were just saying stuff based on things you had heard other people say. But then when they're asking you questions, they're asking you stuff of like, what do you see and where are you and stuff. So I don't know. It would, if you were trying to copy somebody else's, it would have nowhere to go because you wouldn't really be there. You just got to go listen to them yourself. And anything that, seems strange to you or seems like, yeah, that's weird, I would just still go listen. Like, you're going to find this place is a lot weirder than you thought. Trying to not think it's weird is weird. You got to let go of all that idea, because it is weird. There's the realms and stuff around us. There's beings all around us. It seems like that's getting people more scared about the multidimensional beings. It's like, because that's what everything is. It's just beings, souls that move through dimensions, and everything's multidimensional. So they can move more freely than us. That's what I was saying. There's not aliens. There's not monsters out in the sky. Even when, if there's jellyfish out in the sky, and because everything is plasma. And so they're going to, even when you see these ships that are going through it's like they're going through water and then going through different layers of density. And then they'll go under our water, or they'll go into our mountain or whatever. And even on some of the stuff with mountains and stuff, it shows that there's openings. They're not just going through the mountain, they're going through openings in the mountain. And then they're going into other worlds, and, it's like going through portals. But you can't enter a portal. Even if you go through a certain place, if you don't meet that vibration, you're not going to be able to see what's there. You have to meet the vibration. And you, in your soul form, could meet the vibration possibly. But in your, with the glove on, then it reduces your vibration, because then it pulls you into this density for experience. And so, and it's real easy. Obviously, people just go into autopilot. They go to sleep. They just start having the world tell them. They stop telling the world. The world tells them what they are. It's like, you got to tell the world what you are. But you got to decide what you are. You got to see what you are. And so many people, that was what it was. That counselor was talking about this masking. And she was saying, well, if you're masking, that's just, you're just going to mask, it's just who you are. You're going to mask, just see your mask. I don't remember what she was saying. It's just the same thing about just surrender. Every diagnosis, surrender. There's probably a pill that will help you. It's like, no, every diagnosis, if something tells you something's wrong, you can fix it. Anything that is wrong, there's the other side. You've got to go in and change it. Change what you want to change. Fix what you want to fix. You got shitty relationships, you can fix it. You have, but don't be thinking everybody else is the problem. You got to recognize you've got a problem. You got to see if all your relationships are shitty, you are the connector. You got to start coming at things differently. And it's possible. Everything is possible. You can change what you want to change. But just so many people just surrender. So if you mask up, well, that's just who you are. Just, go in, and it's like, no. If you always feel like in every social situation that you have to put on some sort of mask, you have to go and pretend to be something you're not. You have to go laugh at jokes that you think are stupid. You have to go stand around and have conversations with people that you don't want to have conversations with. Then that's you being a fake. That's you being phony. You're not being real. You're not being honest. You're not being, like, it's a big vulnerable step to, say, oh, I'm not interested in that. But that's what you got to do. You got to be true to yourself. You don't go and just talk about stuff just because other people want to talk about it. You don't just laugh at stuff because other people find that funny. You figure out what it is that you are. And even if you're the only person who doesn't laugh in the crowd, you don't know how many of those people are laughing that they don't think it's funny. But they just don't want to be the one who's not laughing. So you not laughing, then you set a tone so other people can become comfortable for not playing along. And there's a lot of people out there saying really nasty shit. And people just laugh because they don't know what to do. It's awkward. It's uncomfortable. It's like, stop laughing at them. Just stop. Just look at them. Let them feel uncomfortable. We don't have to always be making people who are making us uncomfortable. We don't have to be making them feel comfortable. Here, make me uncomfortable, but I'm going to make you comfortable making me uncomfortable. It's like, no. Like, that's where you have to become strong. You have to be vulnerable. You have to be the one who's standing there, like, not laughing. Like, it's not funny. Like, oh, you don't think that's funny? No, I don't. Why not? Well, because that happened to somebody I know. And whatever it is, it's like, be true to yourself. You don't have to be argumentative, but you can still be truthful. You don't have to go into it like, hey, we'll just box this out. There's a right and there's a wrong. There's no right and there's no wrong. There's just who you are and who they are. And everybody gets to be who they are themselves. You don't have to become something for somebody else. And people have so much pressure on themselves. They feel like that they have to become this acceptable version of themselves where other people will like them. No, the more attractive thing is just confidence. Just like yourself. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to look perfect. There's nothing that needs to be perfect about you. You're the one who has to accept the imperfections. You're the one who has to accept yourself. And then when you can go out and accept yourself with confidence, then that draws in people to like you. Going around pretending like, oh yeah, that's funny. Oh yeah, you're trying to just please all these different people. Yeah, you're going to be lost. You're going to never build your confidence. You're always going to feel like you have to please other people. You have to take that plunge. You have to take that step, that discomfort, that uncomfortable, moment of being true to yourself, of not playing along. No matter how uncomfortable it is, no matter if 30 seconds seems like it's 2 minutes of discomfort, no matter if you feel like your face is turning every shade of red, stand in your truth. Be real. Be authentic. Take that chance. And the next time it'll be easier. And the next time after that, it'll be easier and easier and easier and easier to pretty soon, you're the one in the room that is yourself. And everybody else is asking themselves, why am I doing this? Why do I keep laughing? Why am I hanging out with this person when I can't stand them? Why am I so embarrassed being around this person and I still go and be around them? Like, that is where you got to start seeing, And, it has been a part of our society that people have gone out to to be a part of something, to be a part of a group. And then, well, I'm different on this part, but then they just are like, well, I'll just pretend, I just won't notice this part of me so I can fit in, form, and be a part of the group. And then the group becomes toxic. It becomes like a cult where everybody's the same. Like, that's why all these groups are falling apart, because they can't. You can't just all be the same, especially when you're all hiding parts of yourself. Because, to be in your truth and be in your authenticity, you're not like anybody else. There's not another person who's your exact, I think that we have like these energetic matches, that we have vibrational matches, but we all have distinction. We all have things that make us unique, that set us aside, that set us apart. It's like you need every cell on your body. Like, we are all that important. And each of us being unique and being comfortable being unique is important. If you keep thinking that you need to be like somebody else, it's like you're, like in your body, of all of those cells thought like, well, we all want to be toe cells. Everybody wants to be a toe cell. Well, we're going to be just giant toe. It's like, no, we all have to play our parts. We all have to be who we are, what we are, and learn how to be comfortable. Learn how to notice that what we bring to the table is unique and it's important. And so it's the journey to self. It's the journey to find out that you have value, but you have to value yourself. The value, and that is the thing. That's the timelines you're jumping around, is this trying to find your value, trying to find your way. And so but I just don't think it's like as dramatic as what all these people keep thinking. Like, oh, one day you're on a timeline where you're going to be homeless. The next day you're on a timeline you're going to be famous. The next day you're on a timeline. It's like, I don't think it's like dramatic like that. I think it is so much more of like how you focus brings you the opportunities, brings you the things that to keep you on that trail, to keep you on that destiny. But I think each life has like the same destiny. I don't think every reality has a different destiny. I think it all has that window of time you're birthed into has a set destiny. It all depends on how you get there. It depends on what you look like, what you look at, what you pay attention to. But I think, the reason why it doesn't get to the same thing is because you don't get to the same thing. Because you run into obstacles and roadblocks and you let them block you. So you don't reach your destination because you get hung up on all the stuff in between. And that's why there's just like, it's like all these timelines. It's not like you can jump and, oh, I'm going to get off this timeline. There's too many obstacles. I'm going to jump on this one where I don't have any. It's not like that. It's like It's like you have a place to be. You're birthed into this place to be, but, you know, are you going to go towards that destiny? Or are you going to let all these obstacles and interferences keep knocking you back? Because all of them have lessons. All of them are there for you. So it's not like you didn't do the right thing if you didn't reach where you intended to get to. Because what was the most important thing is the lessons in between. It's all the things you learned. It's how you transcend. It's how you grow. It's how you develop. It's how you become more. So that's the important part, is the actual development, the actual growth. That's why in your window of time, to use your time wisely, to, you know, to grow and to not get caught up trying to please others and change yourself all through, you're just wasting your time. But see, those are those obstacles for you to recognize so that you can go in and see, because all of them hold something. They hold something about you, something that you need to let go of, you need to heal. And if it's not completely aware to you in this life, probably has to do with past lives. And the people who are in the situation that you were in the past life, but you played different roles. So you play different roles, so it's hard to really understand everything. Like, you know, even as somebody who's really into reincarnation for whatever 40 some years now, is you still, I go through life looking at these kinds of things. You can't just figure it all out. It is like, and I think that is sometimes becomes a part of the negative side of the spiritual, when we become super spiritual, because this has happened before. But it is said that, like, when we were super spiritual and then it had to go back into the other part of the cycle, when we were super spiritual, so we just focused all the time on being outside of our life. And we need to get into that balance of the life experience is what we're here to experience. We're not just here to connect with our soul and stay out of here. We're here to experience life and to learn and to grow through life. So you have to be a participant in your experience so that you can learn and grow. But when we become super spiritual, that's what these like love and light people kind of show. Well, you know, well, or I'm not going to think about anything unless I want to think about, you know, all this stuff. But, you know, I mean, they're not facing their dark side. They're not growing. They're not developing. They're hiding from themselves. And so it is not productive. So anyways, that is just something I had heard. I don't even know, because I heard that a long while ago. It could have been something I heard off of Mateus DeStefano's show on Gaia Channel. I really liked his show. And so if you haven't seen that show has got a lot of good stuff. A lot of stuff that wakes you up and helps you put pieces together, which I'm sure there's more, even though I'm sure Gaia and, you know, all these channels are all, you know, maintained by the group of people. Because even Kubrick, he said that they approached him. And when he approached him and said to do this movie, he was looking at more like, oh, you know, this fun movie to do. And he didn't know, just like I think the same thing with that astronaut guy, the first one, you know, and how he always is like, people question him and stuff. You can just tell he's so uncomfortable. Like, he's been living this motherfucking lie his whole life. And seeing it, and I'm telling you, living lies and stuff ages you. It's like living your truth, being honest, taking care of yourself. I don't think that you age the same. You know, I think that is going to be a part of our transition. But anyways, you know, Kubrick has said that they approached him and he was all into it. But then once you get into the lie and you have to continue this lie, like that's will eat you up. So, and you know, there's a lot of these lies that have to come out. All the lies have to come out. Anyone who's lying, anyone who's not being truthful or honest right now, it's eating them up inside. Like, the pressure is on. The universe is pushing everyone to be real, to be authentic, to be truthful, to speak your truth, So that's the push. That's what they want us to connect into ourselves, into our truth, and it's a challenge, for a lot of people. And not everybody's meant to succeed. So, just got to continue to watch things play out. But believe you me, if you've got something you're holding in, something you're hiding, some part of yourself that you're trying to pretend doesn't exist, then you're holding yourself back, and the universe is going to keep putting pressure on you. You're going to feel it inside of you. You're going to feel the pressure all the time. Like, you got to be truthful. You got to be honest. So it's going to be playing in your head all the time, and then you just got to step forward, speak your truth. And then it's like a relief. It's like, man, that was hard. It was hard to get it out. But, oh my God, once you let it out, it's like, it's like all this pressure, all this inflating yourself like this balloon that's too inflated. And then once you speak your truth and you let it out, it's like, now you can relax. Now you can let go. Now you can let go of this stuff that you're carrying, because you got to ask yourself, what am I hiding from? Who am I hiding from? Why is it so hard to be truthful? Why is it so hard to be honest? It's each person's own path to truth, the path to themselves. And everybody's on it. And everybody has their, the version that they're playing. And it has to do with their, their soul. It's like way more than just this little life. This little life. I keep having these weird songs just coming to my head, and fuck, all night long, just playing and playing and playing and playing. It's like, shut the fuck up. It's like, god damn. And still just keeps being all these weird transformations, I swear. Like, the P thing keeps changing, like all these different things. And then sometimes I'll be doing something and I'll feel like, oh, I just glitched. Oh, not real. Oh, am I about to disappear? I was like, just weird stuff. So anyways, now I've been talking plenty of time. So good morning to you all. Have a good day. Stay warm and stay safe. And, I'm going to try, I think, and go out. I don't know. There's supposed to be this huge storm coming this weekend. In Spokane, they're supposed to be having an ice storm. I don't know. We just get like one thing after another. It's just such a bullshit, too, when you know that, like, this is all bullshit. It's all created bullshit. It's like, fucking, and there's people who are being found frozen to death outside again. Like, god damn, didn't we just go through this? Like, fucking Buffalo just seemed like it was so recent. Like, all this stuff, it just is so recent. Just is like going faster, 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 faster. It's like, because it's not real. It's like, we're getting, the stories getting closer and closer together. Everything's getting closer together because it's all about to snap. It's about to snap us into this new world, into this new way of being. But it's like everybody has their own snap. Everybody has their own thing. You have to recognize, you have to see, you have to grow, you have to, I just would say, just, stay on top of yourself. And not in that way, where people get you to be insecure. Like, somebody told you one time, oh, your eyes are so small. So then everywhere you go, they're like, oh my God, my eyes are so small. Everybody's noticing. Everybody's thinking my eyes are small. Not that kind. Is different, where you are more of like asking yourself, why am I doing this? What am I doing here? Why do I think this? Why do I think that? Who am I trying to please? That's a big one. I think keep asking yourself, who am I trying to please right now? Am I trying to please myself? What am I trying to get from this? And, just keep noticing that. So anyways, I just ramble a little bit. So I'll talk to you. I'll be back tomorrow for another ramble. I'll talk to you then. Bye.